In this video, we're looking at an impact site on the Titanium Meteorite that has a number of interesting features that we need to examine. For reference and scale, at the very top of the video, you see a scale marked off in millimeters. And so that gives us perspective of how big this thing is. Now, to begin with, we look at the blast direction, the lines that were formed as this strike was taking place and the material was being blasted out, and we see flow lines as a result of that moving in this direction or upward here. Up in this darker colored object is a magnetic piece of iron with fusion crust visible, as well as a tiny bit of rust underneath it. It looks like it was pretty much ground level with the top of this, probably from side abrasion. This portion up here, I polished this prior to this video. That was an attempt to bring out Whitman-Stanton pattern. It was unsuccessful. We tested a variety of etching solutions, but nothing etched the titanium or the small amount of iron that contained within it. Over here we see another small piece of iron with fusion crust underneath. The underneath side is also a bit rusted. Now, when we look at this impact site, we see down towards the bottom here, we see some burrs that are sticking in, that are right in the path of the flow lines. And we believe that these burrs happened afterwards when this bottom plate was impacted and pushed in this direction. So a high-speed impact down here drove the material up into a burr. Same over here. It drove it up into a burr, which then got in front of the path of the flow lines. Over here we see a bit of iron or titanium that is wedged in there, probably not part of the original titanium, but probably left there as a result of the impact. Down in here we see a bit of iron with fusion crust on it. At the top edge, where this rough layer or inclusion is, this might be left over from an impact in this region. You can see that the impact lines are coming in this direction, so it's actually different direction than the other ones. down in the far left-hand corner, you can see a piece of titanium anchored at the bottom, but hanging out loose. And I suspect that this was not actually split away from the main body, but rather was an elongated piece of titanium that was fused at the bottom at a high-speed impact, just welded in place. Down below our main impact site, we see an impact site that existed prior to this one coming in. Now, how do we know it was prior? Because this impact site is now being blocked by the flow lines from this larger one. And so this must not have been here. This must have been open when this smaller impact site was created, and then consequently blocked by this one. Not exactly sure what some of these smaller marks are. Are these additional impacts that took place after this larger one? Overall, quite an interesting site. Small micrometeorites appear in this location, embedded in the wall. More micrometeorites over here, embedded in the wall. These would have come after the large impact was made and the damage was made. You can see small micrometeorites embedded within this wall, and under higher magnification probably would allow us to see a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 total in this whole impact area. Incredibly tiny meteorites, micrometeorites, that seem to be in a great abundance and traveling fast enough that they fuse onto the surface when they hit.